This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
Tom, I'm doing all right. Hey, you know what? It's award season, so I'm excited. Are you excited for award season?
No, I'm not up for any awards this year.
Tom,
that
let's
I'm
be
aware
honest. You never have been, and you never will be.
Tim, I played on some grade school soccer teams that won Best Sportsman 2 years in a row.
The team won best sportsman?
Yes, because we lost all the time, and we're very gracious about it.
But were you gracious? I
No.
don't imagine you, especially like an 8-year-old you, being very gracious about anything.
No, I distinctly remember we got it 2 years in a row. And at that point, we figured out, or I don't know if we figured it out, but we took it to be very condescending. And the next year, we played very rough. A lot of yellow and red cards because we didn't want that stupid trophy anymore.
Right.
So then we just went
You were
home with
after
no
blood.
trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I should mention, Tom, before we go too far, it's NFT week here at The Complete Guide to Everything.
Yeah, non-fungible
so-
tokens.
But we'll get to that in a minute.
Tim, this is the kind of
Look.
episode where people are tuning in to hear about NFTs, and they're already writing a bad review on iTunes because I'm talking about sportsman trophies. But we're going to get to it.
I want to talk about the movies.
Yeah, but by the end of this episode, you'll be a millionaire.
We guarantee
with
it.
NFTs.
Hey, if you're not a millionaire by the end of this episode, I'll eat my hat.
We'll be talking about NFTs because I legitimately gave myself a headache learning about them today.
And I didn't learn anything about them, so I can maintain the voice of the
everyman.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a polite way of putting it.
The unintelligent moron.
Can I ask you something, Tom? I have a proposal about the movies.
Okay.
Have you seen this film? I don't know how to say it. Minari or
No,
Minari,
with Steven Yeun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
Too busy watching the Billie Eilish documentary?
Yeah, first off, I told you that in confidence, but I'll say it out loud. I watched it and I enjoyed it, Tim. And if that makes me young and hip, then guilty as charged, I guess.
So young, so hip.
Mm-hmm.
I watch art house cinema, Tom.
Uh-huh.
I like the films of A24. I prefer them to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, Tim, this was an Apple original movie, and they make iPods.
They make a lot more than iPods, Tom. You'll be surprised. Look it up.
Different kinds of connectors. They have a connector you can plug into your car, but Apple doesn't make those, Tim. Those are third-party manufacturers. It's a common mistake.
Yeah, but they make the iPod video.
Mm-hmm.
They make the iPod Shuffle. They make the iPod Mini, a mini version of the iPod.
Yeah, you thought it couldn't be done, but it was.
Yeah.
Tim, when loyal listeners of this show will know that I worked at the Apple Store years and years ago. And one of the stories I have about the iPod Mini is that one day Daryl Hannah came in looking for a pink iPod Mini, which we did not have. They were impossible to find. And she told the employee, "You have them in the back for people like me."
People like Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
Cinema's Splash.
She was saying this to like a 19-year-old who was like, "We have them for old blonde ladies in the back?" I don't think so, but I'll check if you want me to.
Man, look, I'm no big Daryl Hannah fan, Tom. Mm-hmm. Although she is, she's Neil Young's girlfriend these days.
Yeah. Well, you refused to watch Splash until it came out on Disney Plus, and they put hair on her butt so you wouldn't see it.
Is that the only thing you know about Daryl Hannah?
No, I knew she was Neil Young's girlfriend too.
The internet outrage that you can't see her butt on Disney Plus. Did you sign a petition or two about that, Tom?
No, but I might have rushed out to buy a laser disc.
I just think it's imagining Daryl Hannah going to the mall.
Hey,
Wild.
Maybe Neil Young was out in the car waiting for her. Oh, will you be quick, or should I park my car?
I think that's how he talks?
That's how he talks. He talks kind of how he sings, but not exactly.
Just atonally.
Yep.
The way that he sings for the... So I watched this film, Minari. They pronounce it different ways. I think the way that, like... I don't know. Look, I'm probably saying it wrong. Whatever.
Yeah.
There's a kid in the movie. There's a couple kids in the movie, and they're really good at acting.
Okay.
And also this, like, the little boy is like maybe one of the main characters, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the whole family. Yeah, they're all main characters, but like they focus on him a lot.
This better come back to non-fungible tokens, Tim.
Now he's having a moment. And I'm conflicted about it because everybody's like, this kid's cute. He's like 8 years old and like, you know, he's younger in the movie. You know how time works. So they filmed it in the past. And
they use that Marvel de-aging technology to make him look younger.
No, I think it was just that. I think and like, I don't know. They probably filmed it when he was 6. And the difference between a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old is,
Well, that's what I'm dying to see. Sorry to interrupt, but this movie Chaos Walking that comes out this Friday. It's got Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley in it.
You know, you are a fan and aware of the junkiest movies.
Well,
this is something that was filmed in 2016 and shelved.
Yeah. But apparently part of the thing that made it ridiculous is that, like, after it got shot and they were like, all right, we got to do reshoots, they had to wait because both of their careers blew up. But then, like, also by the time they came and did reshoots, both of them started working out a lot for their roles as action heroes. And it was like, wait a minute, you two don't look like teenagers anymore. So apparently from like shot to shot, it's like, that person looks like they could be 15. That person's 30.
And you want to see this film?
Yeah. Apparently it's actually not that bad, which is disappointing because I like watching train wrecks.
I mean, you like every movie that you see. I don't think I've ever heard you.
Well, sorry, I'm a cinema buff, Tim.
You're not. You don't see the art house fare like I see, like Minari.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. If I saw it, I'd know what it was called at least.
Probably. So anyway, this is the kid. He did that interview that kind of went viral when they asked him who his favorite actor was, and he said, I like Sonic the Hedgehog.
I didn't see that. That's a pretty good answer, though.
Yeah. He's a funny kid. But then I'm just like, I know how, like, look, I know how the realities of Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Hollywood's a bad place. And, like, child actors have it bad there. Now I feel conflicted every time I see a film that has a child in it, because it's just like, this is like this kid. The odds that it's maybe 50-50 that they turn out all right in adulthood, right?
So you pray that his career takes a dive and his parents have to go get real jobs.
Well, that's the thing. I think they should pass a law, and I think this would solve a lot of problems. Child actors, you're under, maybe not 18. Well, say 18.
I have a feeling this law is going to be something the government doesn't have the power to
No, you can regulate child labor. You get one movie. Hey, stage parents. Like, your kid doesn't get to have a career when they can't make decisions for themselves. You put them in one movie. They get cast in one movie, great. You cashed it. You cashed in your kid. That's your ticket. That kid goes back to school and hangs out with the regular kids.
What about like TV shows and stuff?
I don't know, 8 episodes, a third of a season.
Well, how is it?
Would you really care if they recast the little kid on Modern Family every 8 episodes? Would you notice?
No, I guess not.
Telling you. And then that would prevent all these people staying at the Oakwoods for freaking months on end during pilot season, trying to get their kids, into all these things. Like, nope, they'll need a new kid all the time.
Yeah,
but you just get one shot, and you have to choose your scripts right. You have to be very savvy,
right? Be like, well, Jaleel White's all used up now. We have to get a new kid to play Steve Urkel.
They could make an exception
They can make
if a talent like Jaleel White comes and marries the perfect role of a Steve Urkel. I think there should be an exception where like it's like, all right, you'll get a waiver. This can be your life.
But again, Tim,
because he also turned out all right. He turned out well. He's a good man.
I don't think that that's something the government has the power to say that. Well, come on, it's Urkel. This kid we can work to the bone.
I feel like if enough people petition the government for that, they could be like, all right, well, he's allowed to be Urkel. And like, because also it's like, well, who is versatile enough to be Steve Urkel, Stefano Urkel, Urkelbot, Mildred?
He only did the voice of Urkelbot.
I think he was in that suit.
No, Tim, come on. You think they were using split screen instead of just putting somebody else in the suit?
What was the girl Urkel's name? Like Petunia or Mildred?
Yeah,
or something
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's versatile. I think if a once in a generation talent like Jaleel White comes along, they'd make an exception.
So basically, what you're proposing is that they take the power of how much is too much work for a child out of the parent's hand and put it into the general public's hands.
No. That's a very rare case. You get one of those one kid every decade is allowed to work. Well,
what about
more than one movie?
Every 4 years during presidential elections, you also have to vote on which kid would you like to be worked to the bone.
No, I don't think there's enough child actors that are good enough.
Well, then some kids will run unopposed.
Nah, I think they get to run for it. There's one person that can work as much as they want.
Yeah, and the public decides.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, or they could, if it's every 10 years, they could do it when they take the census. A census taker could also ask, "Are there child actors working right now that you would like to see in more films?"
Yeah.
And keep in mind,
I think most people won't know because it's like, I don't know. I've seen this guy in 1 2-hour movie, and then he's not allowed to be in anything else.
Well, and then the people that have like a lot of thoughts about this, then the government knows who to keep track of, who to keep an eye on.
Oh yeah, if someone is like, here's my top 5 child actors that I'd like to see more of.
Yeah, then the census taker just has like a little button they can press or something, and the van comes around. Yeah. Well, Tim, it's a horrible idea. I don't know. You should just watch movies and be fine. And
I mean, the part that you think is horrible is the part that you came up with. My idea is limiting.
I came up with it, Tim, to illustrate to you how horrible of an idea it is.
You knew that if you introduced Urkel into the
yeah, all of a sudden your math would get all thrown off. Well, I don't know. Even though you're not even thinking, Tim, Urkel's best work is behind him. You're fine. You know what? They enact that rule now. You can sit back and laugh because we still got all those hours of joy out of Urkel.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah, Urkel was a once in a lifetime. Urkel was a movement, and it's not going to be replicated. And sorry, tough shit, future generations. 1 movie or 8 TV episodes. That's all you get.
All right, Tim. Non-fungible tokens, NFTs.
Yeah, get that fungible nonsense out of here.
Well, Tim, you used to be all about fungible tokens, and look what happened. All those fungible tokens are worthless now.
I was all about Dave and Buster's tokens because you could play the video games.
Well, those
win tickets.
Those are actually fungible tokens. Do you know what fungible means?
I always thought it meant like malleable or like I guess I don't know. You tell me.
It means kind of. I mean, I didn't look up the definition or anything, but it means kind of like non-fungible, or fungible means replaceable. So like if you had a dollar bill and I took that dollar bill from you, ripped it into pieces and threw it into the wind, and you went, "Hey, come on, man." I could just go, "Sorry about that," hand you another dollar, and you'd be like, "Well, all's forgiven, even Stevens."
Right.
But if you had, like a priceless Babe Ruth baseball card, and I ripped that into pieces, I can't replace that. I could give you another baseball card, but it's not going to be the same one. It's not going to be, even if it's worth the same, it's not necessarily going to be worth the same 20 years from now or whatever.
Right.
So that's what non-fungible means. Basically something that can't be replicated or copied. There's one. That's what makes it non-fungible.
I'm learning so much already, Tom. So unique.
Yes. Yes. Basically a long way of saying unique.
Yeah, but there's nuance to it.
Yeah.
We had a teacher in school who one time was trying to explain how he was smarter than another teacher because he used the word sophomoric.
Uh-huh.
And the other teacher said, "Oh, what does that mean?" He's like, "You don't know what that means?" And then they were like, "No." And he's like, "Well, it kind of means immature, but not really. There's like a distinction that I guess you have to know what the word sophomoric really connotes to understand." It was really, it made me think like, oh, some teachers are bigger jerks than other teachers. But I feel like that's the difference between non-fungible and unique. I bet if you said they were synonyms, some crypto guy would be like, no, not quite. It doesn't quite mean unique. Otherwise, why would the word exist?
And the last thing I need, Tim, is some crypt keeper coming in here doing anything, honestly.
Spooky as hell, man.
Yeah.
Jump out of my skin and run away.
So maybe I should back up a little bit with my explanation here. Because what most NFT is right now, or the NFT that is blowing up, are pieces.
Is it NFT or NFTs?
NFTs, because they're the tokens.
Okay.
The stuff that's kind of blowing up right now is art. So images, videos, even music now are the big things. And before this, it was the idea was that this would be a way to kind of like sell items in games and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, and this all exists on the blockchain. So it's all cryptocurrency.
Oh, the blockchain's back now. We had a couple of years where people stopped talking about the blockchain constantly, but it's back, baby.
Yeah. The blockchain never went away. Now, do you understand what a blockchain is, Tim?
No, of course not. And don't act like you do.
I kind of.
Like every explanation of it is just like, oh, it's a thing, and it makes everything secure. So, and there's no way around it.
Yeah, you got it. That's actually a pretty good definition, Tim. It's a thing that makes everything secure, and there's no way around it. Essentially, it's a kind of like a distributed spreadsheet where like everybody that wants a copy of this spreadsheet's got a copy of this spreadsheet, right?
Can I get a copy of the spreadsheet?
Yeah, you can get a copy of it.
For free?
For free.
Wow, all right.
And if you want to, if I want to say send you money on the blockchain, I essentially have to go, all right, I from this address want to send money to this address, and I want to send this much money, and I authenticate that I'm me.
How?
Because I have a key, a private key that is the only key that will work for this transaction.
But where does that come from?
It's just generated by your computer.
Okay.
It's like randomly generated.
But like, how is something authorized to generate that key?
So I'm trying to think if blockchain is kind of like this, but I'm just thinking about like encryption in general is you have a public key and a private key. So you can put up your public key and, let's say your public key is it just says X or whatever. Or let's say it says 5. Let's make it very easy. It says 5. Now, this is going to get away from me.
It already has.
Basically, I'm gonna take your number that you give me, your public number. I'm gonna do like a math equation with it and send it to you, and
like add 2 to it, so now it's 7.
Yeah, but you're not gonna know what I added to it. Obviously, if it was 7, you'd be able to figure it out pretty quickly. But
I mean, even if it's like 1,000, if it comes back to be 1,005, guess what, Tom?
Well, they're much more complicated than that. But your private key, which you can't show anyone, you can't give anyone, that's your secret. That essentially has the answer and can decrypt that thing that I sent you. And nobody else, because I encrypted it using your public key. It's encrypted in such a way now that you're the only one on Earth who can decrypt it.
Okay. And so you're putting the public key, so everybody's got access to this spreadsheet. You want to send me money.
Yeah.
This is how you know it's fiction, because you would never in a million years would send me money.
Well, maybe I was in like a tight spot or something. I needed to hide some money. So I'm sending it to you.
The way I've always heard it's like a public ledger that everybody can see the transactions, but they don't, the identities and everything are protected, right?
Right, because everything's just numbers. And essentially, when I go to send you money, there's everybody else on the blockchain is going to verify that I have the money to send you. So
But how and why?
Because they have the entire ledger. So they're like, well, let's go through the ledger. Let's see what it says.
Who's maintaining this stuff, though?
Everybody. The computers are.
Okay.
That's the thing. Everybody's got a copy of it.
But why do people care enough?
What do you mean?
Why do they care if you have enough money to give me that money?
Because if they didn't, then none of this would work.
I know, but some people want to make stuff not work.
Right. Well,
what if we get a bunch of jokers in there, Tom? They just want to watch the world burn.
That's what the blockchain prevents, Tim, because you would have to get more than half of the people to lie and basically say, yeah, Tim's got $5 million. If you say you've got $5 million, and you alter your version of the blockchain, well, everybody else's version isn't going to match up with yours, and they're just going to ignore yours because they can't verify it.
What if I say, look, I got $10 billion. Hey, 51% of the people with this spreadsheet, verify this, and you'll each get $1 million.
I mean, you could, and there have been concerns in the past with some cryptocurrencies where
Tom, I just broke blockchain in 30 seconds, and people have been talking about this for years. I can't believe
this
why Gotta run things by me first, everybody.
The reason why you can't do that is you would have to already own half the currency on that blockchain. So that is a problem with like new cryptocurrencies and stuff. Like especially a few years ago when this was like real buzzy and there was a new cryptocurrency every 2 minutes. The problem with a lot of those was some company was like, oh, we're going to have our ICO, our initial coin offering. Everybody can get in on this. And what some of these people would not say is like, oh, yeah, we're going to sell coins for the first time. We're going to keep 80% of the coins, though, so that at the end of the day, we control all of this. We have 80% of the computers. If we say all of a sudden we've got $5 billion, well, guess what? 80% of the blockchain, 80% of the nodes out there can verify this.
See, this is why I don't trust anybody that starts anything up in the 21st century.
Well, but now with at least the bigger cryptocurrencies, that can't happen, or at least can't happen easily, or it would take like an insane amount of effort to do that. And along the way, that cryptocurrency would become devalued because people would be able to see that that's what's happening, that's what's going on.
Great. So what you're telling me is that NFTs are unique things that are verified that they're unique by the blockchain.
Yeah, so this is using the blockchain in a slightly different way, where instead of verifying how much Bitcoin or Ethereum you have, it's verifying a digital object, and they're saying this digital object with this address, Tim owns this. Nobody else owns this. And look, you can go out to all the other nodes. It's in this ledger all over the place. He's the guy that owns it. We can see that he bought it from this other address. So that's verifiable. So actually, even if NFT art, like digital art, is a fad and goes away, I think there's definitely a future for this as a way of certifying authenticity for other items. Sorry, my dog is going nuts. Hold on. Hey. Stop. Sorry about that, Tim. She's a big crypto naysayer.
So even if the art doesn't take out, you want to start there.
Yeah. So even if NFT art doesn't take off, I think this is going to become a thing as a way to certify physical items as kind of like a certificate of authenticity for physical art.
I got a certificate of authenticity already.
For what?
For the autographs and stuff.
But what if somebody fakes the certificate of authenticity?
Well, then, you know what? At that point, good work, right? We're all fooled.
So you'd be willing to spend $5 million on a piece of art, and it's like, well, if they fake the certificate of authenticity, I gotta hand it to them. I didn't think about that.
They're able to fool me with the piece of art itself, and the certificate. You fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right. So if I can't if I'm not seeing, like, if I'm buying this piece of art, and it's a fraud, it's fake, but I'm still buying it hook, line, and sinker. And then somebody, or I'm like, I don't know, I'm skeptical. Actually, it looks pretty good. And then somebody hands me another thing, and I fail to verify that is also fake. That's on me. Buyer beware.
Well, a lot of especially for like actually for even like non-expensive items, like a comic book that's $50 or whatever that's verified.
The Death of Superman.
It's not a $50 comic. They can still be I guess in that case, the certificate of authenticity is a third party that's verifying it in that case. So that certificate is going to have like a serial number on it, and you're going to be able to go to that company and say, hey, I got this serial number. Is this real for this, comic that I'm buying, this expensive comic? And they'll be able to look it up and be like, oh, yeah, that matches. And like, oh, yeah, that guy's verified as the guy who owns that. So like, yeah, that's legit. But how do you know that guy hasn't passed them money under the table to say that? And he's just printing copies left and right. You don't. But with the blockchain, you will, because if somebody's looking to sell it to you, you can just look it up on the ledger and it's like, oh, no, you don't know. This other address that you don't control owns that. You don't own that. You can't give that to me.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
I've heard a lot about NFTs in the past week or two.
Mm-hmm.
And like some very, I don't know, people that don't have, the people with very short attention spans or don't seem very inquisitive at all.
What are you trying to imply, Tim?
No, I'm not trying to imply anything about you. What I'm saying is this all sounds very boring. Why is everybody into it right now?
Because
what's the angle?
There's money to be made, baby. And we'll tell you how after the break. Tim, you had a question before the break.
Yeah, my question is, this all sounds very, very, very boring. What's the angle? Why is everybody talking about it? And it's my understanding that this is just a way to sell potentially unique digital items right now, while this is a novelty to some people. It's a new thing. Before they catch on and realize that, like, oh, some piece of art from some internet idiot, I might have the only one, but that doesn't mean anything. I don't care. I guess my qualm isn't with the NFT as a thing. It's mostly that I just feel that everything is inherently worthless.
Well, that's a bigger topic, Tim. But I mean, in a lot of ways, you're not wrong. The reason why, let me address first. Well, no.
Or nothing inherently has worth, maybe.
Right. So there is a distinction there where, yeah, if you're paying $100,000 for an NFT of an unknown artist, and then it's like, well, that's stupid. You have no idea if that's actually worth anything. But some of these people selling NFTs are pretty big artists.
Name 6.
Beeple, Mad Dog Jones, Greg Mike, Grimes, Boss Logic.
Other than Grimes, how many of those people have you heard of before you started researching NFTs?
2 of them.
Who?
Beeple and Boss Logic I had heard of before.
Beeple?
Yeah.
And you are young and hip. I misjudged you, Tom.
Well, Beeple's like the big dog right now. He has sold $21 million worth of NFTs. And I believe has the record for, he has a piece of art that sold recently for $6.6 million. That was a fairly unique piece of art because it was 2 pieces of art, one for if Biden won and one for if Trump won. And once the race was called, the piece of art became either of those and could not be reversed. So you were buying it before something in the real world happened that would then affect that piece of art forever. Irrecoverably. Can revoke it.
irrevocably.
You got it.
I mean, so they can do the Kindle thing where they can go on and change the stuff once you've bought it.
No, I think I'm not sure exactly how this one was done, that it could be done that way, because usually you can't. And that's kind of the allure to it, that it's like, well, this thing cannot be destroyed or changed.
What format is this art? Is it like a JPEG?
It can be really anything. It could be a JPEG, a GIF.
What if somebody accidentally posted it on a website?
Well, so that's the criticism of NFTs, that technically nothing about NFTs prevents anyone from copying them like any other file. It is not a form of DRM or anything like that, which is actually kind of one of the cool things about them, because you can go on these websites where they're being auctioned and, check out all the different pieces of art, and you're seeing, the best that art's ever going to look. You're not seeing a picture of that art. You're seeing the actual art that's being sold, displayed the way it's, always going to be displayed. Yeah, I guess somebody could print it out, but you could print it out if you wanted to. There's usually nothing inherently different about what the person's buying. There can be, people can kind of like, just have a thumbnail, and then other people don't get the actual art until they've bought it, but that's not the way, from what I've seen, most people are doing it.
So people are doing this with visual art, and they're doing it with music.
Mm-hmm. But you can really do it with just about anything digital. You could make code a piece of NFT if you wanted to. I think for the most part, file sizes are kept relatively small, just because of, how the blockchain works and limitations of it. That nothing inherently means you could make something bigger, but it would cost more to put it on the blockchain, because it would be more work to put that, like a larger item on there.
Okay.
Did that answer your question? Oh, and your question about why they're becoming a big thing now. I think one of the primary reasons is because
we've all been stuck inside for a year and everybody's losing their goddamn minds.
I mean, some people are saying that that's part of it. I think there's two reasons. I think, and they're closely tied together. One is that cryptocurrencies become a big thing, but most people are buying cryptocurrency as an investment, not as like I'm going to buy crypto and I'm going
currency to use.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it
yeah.
and walk around town. Because actually, so it was like a week or two ago, Tesla announced that they had bought like a $1.5 billion of Bitcoin, and that they were going to start accepting Bitcoin when you buy a Tesla in lieu of actual money. And you would probably be kind of a dummy to do that, because that's not really the way Bitcoin's made to work anymore.
Yeah, but doesn't that undercut the, isn't that, weren't cryptocurrencies meant to replace currency? Like,
yeah,
the guy that, where did I read this? But like the guy that ordered a pizza in 2009, using Bitcoin, being like, oh, look at this. It
was like the first time anybody had bought something with it.
Yeah, but if he kept that, you'd have
it'd
like,
be worth like billions of dollars now.
Yeah, so like that's never going to be an actual currency. So all this is just a game.
Well, I mean, a little bit. It's kind of like, you could buy, would you want to buy a car in like stocks? probably not. You probably just want to cash those stocks out and pay in actual cash.
Right.
But because people are mostly buying cryptocurrencies right now to hang on to, like you were saying, cryptocurrency inherently has no value, and you could argue that regular cash is just paper or plastic, that it's not actually worth anything. It's supposed to be backed up by gold and silver or whatever, but I don't know. You can't.
It's
not anymore, but it used to be. So what I'm saying is that, like, there's cryptocurrency is the same as real currency now, where it's just, we all agree this is worth something. And
well, I don't agree.
The world decides this is worth, that $1 is worth a candy bar, and 1 Bitcoin is worth a Tesla.
You know what I find has value, Tom? You know what I agree has value?
Are you going to say the Bible or something?
A helping hand to a neighbor in need.
All right, it was close.
A smile to someone who's feeling down.
Uh-huh. Well, I'll tell you, Tim, if you had, a couple of Bitcoins, you'd be smiling all day because you'd be a rich man. So
somebody donated Bitcoin to the Complete Guide to Everything in like 2010. And you cash it out so quickly.
No, I actually cashed it out like a year or two later. And it, like, I don't know, it had gone up a bunch. But yeah, if I hadn't done that, we probably could have both retired.
Yeah. I didn't authorize you to cash that out, by the way.
You didn't know it existed.
I mean, I did. I just mocked it. I was like, look at this loser giving us a Bitcoin.
Yeah, you just didn't
what
care.
What a jerk.
The person did not give us
sell it.
Yeah, an entire Bitcoin, just to be clear.
How much did they give us?
I forget. But it was, I think they had given us like $5, but then by the time I cashed it out, it was worth like $100.
And what did you buy with that $100 that you didn't share with me?
I did share it with Tim. I'm sick of you accusing me of cashing things out and not giving you any goddamn money from it. I cashed out those points you were talking about the other week, and I sent you a Best Buy gift card. If I hadn't, not only could I have kept yours, but I could have gotten like a bigger thing, because the points went down when I cut them in half. I couldn't get it was confusing, but I could have gotten like $20 more if I hadn't done that.
Yeah, it sucks distributing the money that we both earned equally.
Well, I'm just saying, what's better? Both of us getting an equal amount of money, or me getting both of our money plus like another $20? Probably that. In the long run.
I mean, if we're talking from your perspective, I have to agree. Yeah, that would be better. I'm sorry. I didn't think about it from your side, Tom.
Well, thank you for admitting it at least. So essentially, people are buying NFTs instead of Bitcoin now, I think, because they're like, well, I'm just going to hang on to this and hope it appreciates in value. Talking about like cryptocurrency. So they're like, well, if I'm gonna invest, I don't know, $5,000 into this, and and my thing with cryptocurrency, it's like, never invest any amount of money that you wouldn't feel comfortable losing. You're essentially gambling. I don't think Bitcoin's ever going to become worthless, or if it does, it will take a while at this point. But like NFTs could. But if you're like, you know what, I got, I don't know, my tax return, I got $5,000, that I could either put in the slots, or I could buy some cryptocurrency, or I could like buy a piece of art.
Feed my children.
Your children are already being fed in this situation. Or you could buy a piece of art online, and then, maybe one day that'll be worth a fortune. And you're also in that case supporting the artist rather than just, buying crypto from a machine. Mm-hmm. And you're also helping to destroy the environment, no matter what way you do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you choose to do anything, you're choosing to destroy the environment. But boy, oh boy, are you destroying the environment or this world that we live in at an alarming rate if you do anything with cryptocurrency.
Well, if you're going to buy cryptocurrency, don't use your computer that day to even it all out.
The fact that Tesla is now accepting Bitcoin, like every transaction there, like that undoes any benefit of taking.
Well, I mean, Tesla's environmental thing in general is, if you're getting, electricity from burning coal, it's not necessarily
but if you're
that
getting
much.
it from renewable sources,
Right. Well, maybe I plug my computer into a solar panel, Tim, before I mine currency. You don't know. The electricity thing with cryptocurrency is like I think it's also a little bit overblown.
Yeah, you know.
So now, the corporate people, they're getting into this too.
That's when things get cool.
So the NBA,
and it happens faster and faster these days.
So the NBA is in on it now. They have it's called NBA Top Shot, and basically you can buy like plays and stuff. So for example, somebody bought a LeBron James slam dunk for $208,000. So then
I paid $200 for a slam dunk.
$208,000. And to be clear, Tim, they didn't get to do the slam dunk. They just own a video of that slam dunk. And I should also point out that for the most part, when you're buying NFTs, if you're buying art or in this case, a slam dunk or something, you're not buying the copyright to it. The copyright in most cases still belongs to the author of the work. It's the same way if you buy a painting from an artist, you can't then go like, cool, this will be the cover of my next album. And it's mine because I bought the painting of it.
Right.
No, it still belongs to the artist. Some do offer, those terms of like, hey, if you buy this, it's yours. You own the copyright. But for the most part, that's not the case.
Tom, so I'm on NBATopShot.com right now.
Yes.
I'm looking at a Kevin Durant three-pointer from January 12th. 2021.
Yes.
And I see on the screen it's he indeed sinks one from 3-point land, as I say.
Right. Yeah, I guess
selling...
I don't know if they sell man, if they sold like sports bloopers, I'd sink some good money into some sports bloopers.
My God, they better not start selling sports bloopers. You wouldn't believe the amount of money I'd spend on bloopers. And it'd be like, no, that's my blooper.
All of a sudden, all this clicks for you and makes sense. You're telling me I could buy sports bloopers with this?
But for this 3-pointer, it says that there are 1,158 for sale.
Yes.
So in this case, it's not one unique, right? They made it's a limited edition,
right?
Sure.
So that also happens a lot. Essentially, it's the same way artists have prints, where it's like, I made this work of art, and there are 1,000 authorized prints of this.
It looks like they made 15,000 versions of this Kevin Durant 3-pointer.
Well, how much does it cost?
The lowest one is $330.
Jesus
Christ. But the highest price is $250,000.
Oh, I guess maybe.
Do you want to buy this 3-pointer, Tom?
No, I don't want to buy it.
We could put it on our website.
We can put it on our website now.
That's true. Yeah, we could just say. No, I mean, nobody will know.
Yeah, nobody. Look, how many people listening to this are going to be able to go in and verify it? Or we could just say, yeah, we own this 3-pointer. I was looking into, Tim, by the way, extensively, and I figured it out, and we could release a podcast episode as an NFT.
Yeah, through Patreon. We do it every week.
No, Tim, we could release one as a token, a one of one if we wanted.
Oh, really?
And only one person would own it, and they would have bragging rights for the rest of their life.
Ooh, I hope Martin Shkreli buys it.
But it costs like a little bit of money to put things on the blockchain, because you essentially have to pay for that processing fee. So it was like $40-$50 it looked like it would cost, and I doubt anybody would pay $40 or $50 for. I mean, I was just going to put this episode up. They say you only
need one true, really dumb fan.
Yeah, so I kind of lost interest in it after I found out I couldn't do it for free. And it just looked, I'm honestly surprised that this is as big of a thing as it is, because it was not super clear how to like buy and sell things. And I'm fairly familiar with how this stuff works. I was going to say that I think the other reason why this is blowing up right now is that I think that there are a lot of people who got very rich very recently through cryptocurrency, and they've got money to burn. And this is the way they're burning that money, in essence, where it's like, instead of spending it on, a dumb painting, they're spending it on a dumb JPEG.
Right.
Because that's the world they know.
Are you going to buy any NFTs in the near future, do you think?
I would consider it. I mean, I would not spend very much money at all. I don't think. I would love to like buy what?
They have Garbage Pail Kids.
Well, I was going to say NFTs. That's another corporate sign.
William Shatner has NFTs now. Now you've gotten my attention.
Yeah, there's a lot of like celebrities and stuff jumping on the bandwagon. Justin Roiland has sold NFTs of his work. And I mean, his work, they're like very simple sketches he's done and sold as NFTs. This guy, DJ3LAU or DJ3Lau, I don't know, Tim. I haven't been to the club in a year. He made $11.6 million selling 33 NFTs of his latest album. Just different versions and whatnot.
Right.
Some artists are doing what I was talking about with like certificates of authenticity, where this Beeple guy, he sells his art, and when you buy it, you get a like physical token mailed to you that I'm guessing has like an engravement of like, the item number or whatever.
Right.
And he said like you could sell this on its own. You could sell the painting on its own, but it would be like ripping a baseball card in half to sell two pieces. These are meant to be sold together as a way of kind of double verifying, that this is authentic.
Right. Tom, I think you and I should record an album or an EP and sell it as an NFT. I'm getting really good at playing some Billy Joel songs on the piano. You lay down the vocals on top of there.
Yeah, I've gotten very good at singing recently.
Exactly. I think we do 5 Billy Joel songs. We sell it. We auction it off.
Yeah, and
for charity, but really it goes to us.
Yeah, and I could just imagine, Billy Joel gets wind of this. He's got his reading glasses on. He's sitting down at the computer at night, like, oh boy, how do I stop these boys from doing it? He can't figure it out, and we get away scot free because he can't even figure out how to get online.
Charity, Billy Joel.
Yeah,
but it won't really be for charity.
there was also a thing recently which was I found it real dumb, but I mean a lot of art is real dumb, which is fine. Where a person had a Banksy original print, verified print, and burned it on camera to transfer it to an NFT token. So it was like basically trying to say, like, look, here it is, it's verified. Now it is being destroyed and it is becoming this token instead. And it's like, yeah, but it's not. You just, I mean, if I don't know, set my toilet on fire and then made a sandwich, I can be like, now the toilet is this sandwich. No, they're two different things.
It's hard to set a toilet on fire.
And that's why I think you should give me a little leeway and say, wow, I don't know if that guy could set a toilet on fire. Maybe he did make it into that sandwich.
It was reincarnated as a sandwich.
Yeah. And also just like reading the language around it, it just sounded like very sketchy, like not sketchy, but like they were trying to make it out as more official than it was, where they were saying like, it was verified. You know how like Banksy has like a verification service essentially?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there's so many fakes out there and everything. The wording kind of made it sound like they were also verifying the token, but I don't think I don't see what would be in it for them to do that. And then they also said like they were like, will Banksy be there or whatever? And they're like, Banksy has been made aware of this. And it's like, yeah, all right. The same way I could be like, I sent Banksy an email. He's aware of this.
Yeah. You know what I think? It's 2021. Enough about Banksy already.
Well, yeah, that too. It just seemed like it seemed like a way to sell that piece of art, which is already worth $100,000 for a fucking print. It seemed like a way somebody was trying to make it worth even more by saying, look, it's the first Banksy NFT. That's what they were advertising it as. And it's like, yeah, but he's not selling it. He's not involved in the sale. And he's the kind of person that like, if for no other reason than to get all the money himself, like he does the things.
You know what worries me about NFTs and crypto in general?
What's that?
There's a lot of like high-minded ideas being thrown around by bros. And I don't think at any other time in history have bros embraced kind of the philosophical nature of like what, inherent worth is, and like, how do we all agree that currency is real? How like everything is a construct,
right?
And when bros start entering this conversation, it's worrisome, I think.
Well,
it can't end well.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's a weird I don't know what weird thing with people that are like, look, things are only worth what we all decide. Like, all of this is a construct, and this thing I have is worth $10 million. Who do I have my first bid?
I mean, but that's the smart thing to do.
Oh, absolutely.
If you, embrace the hippie philosophical point of view.
Yeah.
And then be like, and I'm going to immediately cash out, and we all agree that $10 million means $10 million.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
For now, at least.
Right. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Like, it also kind of makes sense. Just, people who are the generation below us, they've like not owned physical media of anything.
Yeah.
They haven't owned a physical copy of music. They haven't owned a physical copy of, I don't know, a video or other pieces of art, perhaps. So it kind of makes sense for them to be like, yeah, I don't know, music's never been anything tangible to me. So why wouldn't I be more interested in this than I am in, I don't know, a collector's edition CD that they only made 100 of or something.
Yeah. This might make me sound like an old man, but I wish they would just unplug the fucking internet forever.
No, I don't think that made you come up as an old man, Tim. If you like the show, you can find out more at tcgte.com. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/complete guide. Follow us on Twitter at complete guide. Follow us on Instagram at tcgte. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Reynolds.
Hey, get this. Don't follow me at your pal Tim.
Whoa. Tim, are you
right?
sure you want to say that?
Tom, guess what? I bet I get more followers than I
Oh, man. Should have thought of that. You can check out our subreddit, reddit.com/r/tcgte, and check out our Discord, Complete Guide on Discord.
Tom, people are clamoring for you to go in and enable emotes in there.
Oh, okay. I'll go. Hey, I went in and enabled emotes. How about that?
Oh, you've done it already.
By the time they're listening to this, yes.
That's some Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure logic right
Exactly. If you want to support the show, check out our sponsors. Also check out patreon.com/complete guide for Books the Podcast, the only place to get Books the Podcast, our podcast about books. This week I'm finishing up part 2 of A Study in Scarlet by Sherlock Holmes. The first of 2 books that I'm reading written by Sherlock Holmes. And you can get that and all the past episodes of different books at patreon.com/complete guide. Tim, will you be buying any NFTs? That's my question.
Maybe. I see that I can get some Garbage Pail Kids for $8.44.
Mm-hmm.
But what am I gonna do? I'm always running out of space on my computer. I'm just gonna want to
Jesus Christ.
delete it at some point. What am I gonna do? Like look at it and admire it? Open up my computer. Like you buy a piece of art, you can frame it, you put it on the wall at least.
You can do that with this.
I can do it without buying it.
You could go to CVS and buy a digital frame.
Yeah, I could do that. And then I could also have pictures of my grandkids.
Yeah. Tim, if I come over your house and there's a digital frame with a Garbage Pail Kids thing on there, I'm going to demand to see the blockchain and proof that you own that, or else I'm going to
$1.47. Yeah,
destroy it.
Believe me. Well, you can't destroy it. I mean, the digital frame is still worth something.
Well, not if I smash it.
Yeah, well then I'm going to insist that you reimburse me for that.
What if I claim that it's non-fungible, so it's irreplaceable? That's how I would get you in a conundrum, Tim. You would either have to admit that you faked it, or you would have to admit that it could not be replaced.
So I just clicked on, yeah, that's very clever, Tom. Well done. You can break my stuff. And
What? You heard it here first, folks.
I just clicked to buy a Garbage Pail Kid NFT.
Yes.
For $1.47. Mm-hmm. And I get this whole big red box comes up and says,
"Get out of here, Grandpa."
Anyone can create atomic assets, NFTs, and freely choose attributes such as name and image, including fake versions of existing NFTs or stolen intellectual property. Before buying an NFT, always do your own research about the collection and double-check the collection. This is going to be so flooded with bullshit.
I don't think it's going to be flooded with bullshit. There's definitely going to be forgeries and stuff.
There's going to be thousands, millions of fake Garbage Pail Kids NFTs out
well,
there.
I think you're overestimating the market for Garbage Pail Kids NFTs, but I don't know. Tim, you just said before, if you bought a $5 million painting and it was fake, oh well. But now you're balking at $1.40 on a Garbage Pail Kid?
It is pretty good. It's his name is Ray Decay, and it looks like Captain Crunch, but it says Cavity Crunch.
Oh, nice.
And the decay, I think, refers to this, like tooth decay.
Yeah, because of the sugar in the cereal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, I'll buy it. I'll take a risk.
Quite a critique on society itself, I would say.
I would say so. Yeah, I'll buy it.
All right. Well, we're not going to sit here while you try and figure out how to buy Ethereum, because that's what's going to
log into this page.
All right. We'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.